Yes. Just considering what knowledge a person has. Yeah. Um, I'm a little concerned that the law enforcement doesn't really believe that they have liability for what they know. Now, this concept of arresting people when you know they weren't in Squim or they weren't in Brendan or you don't have any liability for what you know, hmm I think you do. Yeah. Now, I kind of like this. What was this here? Oh, contempt if she refuses. This accusatory statement was made that matters. Yeah. Now, you can accuse me all day long of cyberstalking and violating a protection order. Right. But is it you or is it the petitioner that accuses me of that? Because as much as you want to say I was in prison, I wasn't. Oh, well, then I couldn't have violated it in Brendan, Washington, could I? Now, let's say I went to suing all of those, yes, that say that, well, I'm just going to have to go, the hearsay and the confrontation clause, yeah. I would say it's hearsay, yes. If you allege somebody is in a city that they're not in, and I should have the right to confront those that do that, yeah. Some sort of procedural rule, a witness is unavailable only if the prosecution made a good faith effort to obtain the witness's presence at trial. Yeah. But you don't even think I have the right to a trial. I need to be restored. I need to go to a cell hearing on Friday. Yeah. Because we talked about this. hmm Now, expert testimony of the person will be traumatized by the act of testifying. Now, I've heard this as an excuse for protection orders. Yes. That the alleged victim of domestic violence that abducted my sons on July 2nd of 2011, yeah, it's too traumatic for her to appear in court. But somebody that looked like her appeared in court in 2012, yeah. Now, did the memory of the actual marriage get worse over the last, well, 6.5 years, or did some of the wounds of the alleged domestic violence and child abuse, did they heal? Now, when you really think about it, if the look-alike, Jill, yeah, Scaredy Cat, was willing to appear in court as my spouse, Coach, you would have thought 5 years later that it would be a less traumatic experience. Court. It's too traumatic for her to appear in court and acknowledge receipt of the protection order, and you, the court commissioner, took it upon yourself to issue it. Does the trauma of alleged crimes dissipate over time? Or does it get worse? Poop. Now, when I wasn't in Squim Police Department, yes, and the petitioner didn't acknowledge the protection order and used forgery, fraud, and misrepresentation. This assumption of the liability resulting from the release of a traffic citation without an actual report of domestic violence? Yes. Does the trauma of her not experiencing domestic violence increase over time or decrease? And then after having arrested me, Judge Rick Porter, yes, the trauma of the experience in Brennan, Washington, where I wasn't there, yes. Does that diminish over time? Because for every time you've arrested me and alleged, accused me, yes, of a crime, yes, I don't see how it could have been the actual petitioner. But then again, I wasn't there. But it seems every time I get arrested, it increases the amount of the trauma of the alleged victim when I'm not the one victimizing her. Now, let's think about it. It's too traumatic to have to appear in court, and you will not allow me to call any witnesses for my confrontation rights. There is no threat with contempt if she refuses to appear in court. Yeah. You don't allow for cross-examination. The first exhaust the procedural tools for compelling the witness to appear. Now, Brett Roberts, what witness was not compelled to appear in court? Yes, to answer to me, the accused, why it is that they filed the two-count criminal complaint, why there is no signed statement from the petitioner that I was in Brennan, Washington. Where's the third party employee that says that it was me that was attempting? Well, I think when you don't have the availability, yes, of having contempt of court because of the liability of the petitioner not knowing of the protection order, yeah, there could be quite a few lawsuits for holding me hostage, for torturing me, kidnapping my sons, for being involved in conspiracy and hate crimes. Yes. Now, for every time that I've been arrested, the petitioner that did not actually appear in court, yeah, she's been traumatized by all of those experiences. I'm absolutely sure that since I committed no crimes, the trauma that she has experienced as the victim must be intense and incredible. Because if I wasn't there, exactly how traumatic could it be that I didn't traumatize her? Ouch. And there is no excuse to accept an accusatory statement on a two-count criminal complaint by an individual that was traumatized by my arrest, but by myself not having committed any crime. In general, Crawford rule only to statements by victims and witnesses when they are made to the police or prosecutor. These victims, let's say a victim,